What is going on, world? You are now tuned into the Bong Talk Sit-Down Series, and I'm your host, Nappy 2000. Let me put the sponsors up on the screen so you can see them real quick. Let me get a shout out to Bust Down Worldwide, Happy Trees, El Toro Verde, Gas TV, Vacay, Plain Jane, and Sweets. I appreciate all of you guys for helping me along this journey. And you can also find these episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But today, I have a very, very special guest in the building. I have a master producer in the building. I have a man who is a pillar of when it comes to do it yourself. I have a man who is making great waves on the internet, showing artists how to become independent and how to ultimately be better human beings. I have Curtis King in the building.
How you doing? Don't forget artists. Don't forget artists.
And artists.
Don't forget artists because I know that's partly my fault because I've been pushing really hard on the production and the content, but that's something I'm really prioritizing this next year. I have a lot to say, a lot that I've learned, but I really appreciate you having me on. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, I'm happy that you wanted to come on.
Yeah, when I saw you at the event, I told you. I said I was like, I don't know how it's gonna fit with me because I don't smoke, but I was like, I enjoy the conversations that I do check in on.
Good. Yeah, it's bigger than just the smoke and the mirrors and all that.
You reminded me that too when we were there. You were like, "No, it's a whole lot more going on in that." Good.
Real conversation. Yeah. So talk about just this transition. Well, not really a transition, but being more into the content world, being more into the YouTube world, being more just interactive with that.
Yeah, so about 2013, I started to really branch out and listen to a lot of interviews from entrepreneurs, a lot of podcasts, just really searching for the answers I felt like I wasn't getting from the OGs in some of these interviews, right? Some of these radio interviews and podcasts. And I was searching for answers of how to really make a business out of what I'm doing in my music. And unfortunately, the people who are writing the books tend to be people who haven't actually done it, but work with teams or whatnot. At that time, that's what it was. And so I was on the search for folks like, well, who's making money in general? And there was a podcast called The Entrepreneurs on Fire. By John Lee Dumas, and it was something where he would talk to a millionaire every single day and ask them the same 12 questions or same 10 to 12 questions. And I just started listening to it just out of not even trying to figure out how to get to the bag because I love my art first and I love what I do, but just really figuring out what does it mean to really take your business as serious as your art. And one of the things I noticed was that of all the millionaires, every one of them kept overlapping. One of the questions was, what are your streams of revenue? And one of the questions that they kept answering the same way was that one. And they kept saying that teaching or giving was somehow a part of that. That led me to a book called The Go-Giver. And I started to quickly understand how much of a career as a rapper, as an artist, as a producer is very me, support me, come watch me, come support my music, listen to this.
Come to my studio.
Yeah. And how one-sided it is. Even when we talk about coming up and people not supporting our dreams, where it's there's also two sides of that story. Did you support your little sister at her graduation? Or did you tell her, I ain't got time because I got to record? So it's that duality that exists in life, I wanted more of that, and understanding that as I matured. Reading through that book set me up to where I was I need to give more. I need to do more. Being just an artist and a music producer wasn't enough for me. I felt there was a part of me that always loved to if I learn something, spread it to one of my peers, right? They ask me,
each one teach one.
Each one teach one. That's always been my default. And so, and my pops is a professor, so it's maybe it's just naturally there. But in the process of that, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to share on YouTube what I had to fight in real life to learn. I had to fight tooth and nail from trying to get people to break the whole, break it down, really just tell me what it is and not talking code. And so I went through that process, and on YouTube, I pivoted at a time. I always talk about it where Hip Hop DX said I have one of the top 25 albums of the year as an independent artist. And that's a time that you should be hyper focused on your career. And I decided right then at that peak, not that I wasn't ready for it. I was very ready for it. I just knew there was something else here in the independent space. So many ideas I wanted to launch on. So that's what I ended up doing, was starting with the YouTube channel, not knowing or having a guide.
Yeah.
But I just went for it. And I took a channel that was like 900 something subscribers to today. I went the hard way, and I'm at 200 and almost 50,000 at the recording of this. So it's like, you know, and I've seen a lot of folks do it and go up and then disappear. A lot of folks. Yeah. So it's one of them things where it's just like, I wanted to give to my peers. I wanted to find a way to, you always remember the person that taught you how to do something for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who taught you never forget who taught you how to ride a bike. You never forget who taught you how to tie your shoes. And so I felt like I could be the equivalent of that to my peers and artists, like teaching them how to copyright their music at first was the first thing. Teaching them how to handle themselves in a studio session with established artists. Just showing them pretty much any practical means that they can to support themselves independently.
Because there is artist etiquette.
There is artist etiquette. There's producer etiquette. I mean, it's across the board, but a lot of stuff I think gets lost in translation because a lot of the people who have positioned themselves as leaders may or may not be leaders.
I was going to say, when you were saying talking in code, sometimes I think they're talking in code because they don't really even know the fucking code.
I've officially come to that conclusion. At first, I was like, nah, there's no way. Like, these folks have been around, all these geniuses. But then when I started doing this content that I'm doing recently, it really opened my eyes. And that been doing so I pivoted a few months ago into doing like reaction content to interviews and clips that come up on the scene.
The G Perico one.
The G Perico one, right? So it's like, it gives me a different insight to where now I'm in charge of decoding the code. So when I hear somebody speaking, G Perico didn't. He gave it like flat out. But
he did.
When I hear people who are speaking in code, now I'm like, based upon my experiences to the audience, this is how I decode this as this. And here's the issue with this that I face as an independent. And what I've hoped that it's done is demystify a lot of this stuff that people are just entranced by. And so, man, I feel grateful to be able to call this my living. But none of this happens if I don't have a career in music first. And I don't plan on pivoting. I don't care how much money or whatever it generates. Music is still always a part of the plans.
Yeah, you're doing God's work. Honestly, you're breaking down walls. You're breaking down generations of information that isn't given freely.
No,
it's hidden, and now you're teaching people how to unlearn the ways of the music industry,
the traditional music industry,
the traditional form of it, and knowing that it's your world. It's your freeway. You can create your lanes. You can create your exits. So talk about teaching people that and helping them unlearn what they've been taught all those years.
Yeah, I got this thought that's been circulating around my head that maybe one of the first lessons we should teach independent artists in general, because I've been an independent artist now for almost 20 years now. And I've seen this game go through all kinds of transitions, even from the cusp of the internet age and the Black Planet and MySpace age. And I've seen all of that stuff with a very aware mind of what's going on. And what I've learned is that there's been so much programming, not in any kind of like conspiracy way, just general programming to make us value certain things like a Grammy, which is very valuable to certain circles, right? To certain lines of work. I'm pretty sure a plumber gets an award, but how valuable is that to me if I've never done any plumbing? Like I salute that person, but it's not a value to me. So my theory is this: the old age traditional music industry is its own ecosystem. It's its own environment, right? It's a whole nother profession, because that is not about conserving the art. That is about figuring out what is going to generate the most income, because it's a business.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I feel like as independents, a lot of us don't recognize we've been freed because we're keeping on the handcuffs ourselves on purpose. We're keeping them on voluntarily. So I feel like that's part of the unlearning is like, why am I so concerned with views? Our vanity metrics. Why am I so obsessed with streams? The streaming model was never made for independent artists to thrive off of. Because when you think about even, there's many of videos, one by Trevor Noah, where he talks about how streaming money is distributed. Folks think that everybody is just kind of getting paid individually, but there have been studies that show that musicians only account for 12% of the income that is being pocketed in the music industry, the traditional music industry. So, Spotify in particular works like this, where they make a certain amount of money after their fees, after their overhead as a business, which is any business goes through that. And they also make a lump sum from the advertisers that are on there. Based upon all that traffic that is generated by independent, by major label, everybody that's on there, here's what happens. They take this money and they first divide it up kind of like a pie to the highest streamers first. So everybody thinks they have money with their name on it. No, it's everybody's money. Drake's money, Taylor Swift, they get it first because of how important of a traffic driving force they are.
They're a machine.
But how unfair is that for those who are like, okay, so then I had this amount of streams, but I have to wait this amount of time because that pie has already been divvied up amongst these people. So
how much of the pie would a Taylor Swift or Drake get? Will they get like?
It's probably less than a percentage point, if maybe a percentage point, but still, it's of all artists. And I think they had a stat that said 125,000 people upload or new songs are uploaded a day on Spotify alone. So these are things I would want anybody to fact check. Right. I'm learning as I go through it because it used to be things that didn't concern me. I was just like, that's just the way it is. We got to figure it out. But the more I study the Nips, the more that I study the LaRussells, the Russ, the more I started to see, like, how can I really make this a business and not just a successful business for myself, but one that I can teach to others so that they can stop begging and willing to throw their entire life away for a loan.
A $500,000 to $1 million loan.
Like, and I think when people would see me, they immediately try to put me in the place of like anti-industry, and it's like, no.
You're educated.
I'm educated.
You're not ignorant.
And I have friends that are currently there.
Yeah.
And I want to see them win. I love seeing like the homie Nappy, and shout out to the homie Nappy, and getting placements left and right with Travis Scott and Drake and all these folks. And Oh Gosh Leota's is another one of my really good friends. I love seeing my brothers win, but I also understand them stressful days because I saw it firsthand when I was pursuing this. So my thing now is education on all fronts. And it's not even necessarily that it's always coming from me. Sometimes I'm just reacting to something that everybody's seen from somebody that everybody knows. And I'm saying, use some critical thinking. Does this sound right to you? Does this sound like a place that you would feel invited to? And if you're going to go and work your whole life to get there.
Would you tolerate this?
Would you tolerate this? Exactly. Yeah. Would you tolerate this? If I did this to you and I didn't have $1 million, would you be okay with this? And then even in the name of business, I know business can be, cold-hearted and all these things that they put on it, but it's like there's still business ethics, right? We may have two different moral codes, but, there's still business ethics that apply. And I think that, it's easy to paint the labels and the execs as just, these folks, but I don't expect more of them. I don't. And I think all of this, it feels like a lot of artists and a lot of producers are like, they sound like victims.
Yeah.
They're begging, change the system. No, leave it.
Yeah. Create your own ecosystem.
First, start with your website.
Yeah.
Upload your music directly. Like any website that has any file sharing just upload your music first of all and repurpose it. If you don't believe that your music is worth, and I'm not saying this like I'm on some pedestal. I'm telling myself this. If you're really pissed off about this and you feel like your music is worth more than 0.003 cents, prove it. But we're living in a time where not only can we prove it, but we have the same reach. Right? I've gone viral multiple times doing voiceovers. I'm not a voiceover artist. I'm a rapper and I'm a producer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
My beats, have gone viral, but that's not the goal. The goal is to create so that I can create another day and so that I can support my livelihood. And I think there's just a lot of things. Like, for instance, the term struggling artist, I don't believe in the idea of a struggling artist. I think these are things that are part of the unlearning, because when you say these are self-fulfilling prophecies, and I don't even want to hold that on me, because it's way too much I'm focused on.
And one thing that I saw you post is winning in silence is
so
underrated.
lovely.
I think all
It's
of this
lovely.
can be tied into winning in silence, because I was just talking about this. We don't pat ourselves on the back at all for any present things that we've done, any past things that we've done. We really just don't sit there and think like, wow, I've really achieved and elevated to get to this spot, to talk to this person, to go to this store, to create this for myself. And I think by doing that, we create energy within ourselves to create another day.
I agree.
To help someone else, to maybe give someone that code if you know something. So I think it all ties into that. So talk about that.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I was talking to a circle of my friends that are doing really well as producers and artists. Nappy was one of those. Nappy is on one side. My guy Waju was on the other side, Phantom Thread. And I'm just talking, and I'm like, you guys realize that when we meet up in this community, this is not common all over the world. Like, there's some cities where there are just I can't even say no disrespect because I didn't say a city, but they're just trash.
Yeah.
20-mile radius. Just garbage, like left and right. Like, it might be one person that's like kind of good, but because of whatever the area contributes to that, either that person it's winning in silence, or it's just not abundant. We live in a place where if we're in the IE, we're an hour away from LA.
Yeah.
Right? Or we're 2 hours from San Diego. Right? Every major tour comes through where we're at.
Everywhere.
The people who live here, like the artists that come up, I'm like, specifically in the IE, there's so much talent, like from a radio base in the same place that you got a Noah, in the same place you got a Stevie Crooks, and that's so rare. And I think it's hard for us to see that because it's regular. These are the homies. We see each other all the time.
We grew up around
on each other. Like, we've seen each other through our worst of times, best of times. So it's not like we take it for granted, but it's just like somebody walking into this room and saying, "Oh my God, the walls are green." It's like, well, yeah. This is every day. I'm here. So I think it's the same thing, honestly, with understanding the abundance of that is around you, not just the abundance in talent, but in information and resources.
Yes.
And we all, especially now, we're leaning on each other. Stevie, man, I've known Stevie for over 13 years. And
you just had him on your podcast.
I just did an interview with him.
You just had him.
He invited me to do. We had probably worked on. I probably produced 2 beats for him total since I've known him. Been on probably about 3 or 4 songs together, but never like worked together in terms of a project. And he invited me to come narrate his last project, and that meant so much to me because I'm like, not only is it dope because I'm already a fan of what he does, but it's dope because of the place that he's at. He is right there in that D.I.Y'er spirit and that independent spirit. He's seeing. He asked me a question, bro, and it messed me up. He said, the best of art that we ever seen in our lifetimes or beyond our lifetimes is hanging up right now in museums. You go to a museum, people have lines to go just see it. Not touch. You can't touch the Mona Lisa. It's in a glass, but you go just to go see it.
Just to feel.
Just like be in the same room as it.
Yeah.
How much art nowadays do you think holds that kind of value? He asked me that question, and he said, well, think about it from this perspective. If Basquiat was in his time, if he was living in his time, which I'm sure he is in some shape or form, he or she, what would he be doing? Would he be trying to figure out how to be the biggest mainstream success? Would he be listening to somebody who's never painted a day in their life tell him, I think you need to make your painting smaller. for the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're making a lot of decisions and we're not recognizing like the special moment we have. That what other time have we ever as independent artists had this much access, this much freedom, this much chance? I just did a reaction video today off a clip I saw last week. You know what a reaction video was? One half of the Heatmakers production that did all the Dipset production.
Okay.
Arsonist. And he reaches out to me in a DM. You could have at least invited me on your platform if you're going to talk about me. And I'm like, that's the time we're living in. As an independent artist, and I told him, I said, you don't know me from a can of paint, so I wouldn't just be cocky to invite you to my platform. Who the hell are you? But that's the time we're living in. And so when living in this time, nothing surprises me. Young Guru jumped in one of my live streams the other day.
Yeah.
On some casual shit. And I'm just like,
2020 let me know, like, we're
all in the same
we're in the same thing.
We got, you know what's the biggest eye opener? We all got the same internet.
Yep. We're on
ain't
the same
special,
broadband.
Ain't no special celebrity signed internet. There ain't no signed internet. Spectrum don't give out no extra internet to them folks. So I think opening your eyes up and recognizing, like, not that you're going to become friends with these people. That's not the goal. But that your information is getting out there to the people that you've been influenced by. Mm-hmm. You're influencing the influential. And
sometimes you don't even realize
it.
You're influencing until you have a conversation. They're like, oh, yeah, like that one thing that I'm like, oh.
I saw Farside perform. And I'm standing in line to just take a picture with a Fat Lip.
Yep.
As a fan. I seen you on YouTube, bro. Not because of my music, not because of the things I've done with TDE. I've seen you on YouTube, bro. These kind of moments happen so often that I'm like, all right, God, I understand my place in this. I understand my role in this. I truly feel like I am just one of the voices. I'm grateful to be one of the vehicles to help people like shake them and help them realize, like, bro, we're free. When you see somebody that is signed to someone else complain about something, you know that doesn't apply to you, right? It's like listening to your friend complain about their job.
You don't work the same job.
You don't work at the same job.
No.
So not that you don't want to have empathy, but to make excuses for why you're not where you're at, stop blaming them folks and start looking in the mirror and asking, what can I do more of that I'm not doing? What can I do less of that I'm not doing, that I'm doing too much? And I've had those conversations, very uncomfortable conversations with myself in the mirror. And I do it daily now. And now because of that, I'm starting to see, you know, my business is going through every up and down that you can think of. And now it's circling around and everything is just falling into place in preparation for me to work back on music again. So I just look at this and I'm like, when they say Wild Wild West, I don't think we anticipated how wild it was, because there's certain things that just not going to make sense for my life. They haven't made sense, but
sometimes they're not supposed to. And
why make sense out of it?
We shouldn't question it.
Why make sense out of it? If you're walking in purpose, what's the rush?
Favor is not fair.
Favor is not fair. I like that.
I tell people that all the time. Favor is.
How do you dice that down? Like, how do you interpret that?
So when I say favor is not fair, there's just been, well, personally with me, there's just certain times or certain moments that I've written something down. I've architected something in my mind where I wanted to be, people I wanted to meet, or just ultimately where I just see myself and I plant myself in those situations and it's tangible. I can see it now.
Right.
I can smell it. I tell people that's like the lowest form of magic, pretty much. Like, you're really putting something on a piece of paper, spelling it, casting a spell, releasing it, putting the energy for it, and then putting the work behind it. No work, no rain, as I've been told. So putting that work behind it and putting that energy behind it, it's sometimes you just get a push more than others. And it's sometimes unexplainable. And sometimes people be like, why is that happening for him? Or why is that happening for her? It's not your place to question that.
And I think that's another reason too. I'm really taking heed to this advice that I saw. I can't remember where I saw it, but it said, if something makes you happy, keep it to yourself. I think that applies not universally, but I think there are a lot of things that I'm recognizing. Like when you said that tweet that I put up earlier about winning in silence is underrated, you know, because I think that celebrating our blessings is overrated in terms of giving it out to the public to judge. Because what ends up inevitably happening? We can act like we're machines and we're not affected by the things people say, but what happens when you share something that really made you feel good? It's always that one person or two people, or even someone who doesn't. Maybe it's not somebody who says something completely negative, but it's just like indifferent or passive, and that stings a little bit more because it's like, damn, I would have been happy for you if this was you. So I'm learning now, like, what do you really want to win for? Is it validation? Do you want to win because you want to win?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, it hasn't always been like that. And now that I'm experiencing what it feels like to win and not make a whole big thing about it, I'm just like, God, what else you got for me?
Yep.
Because I know that this was a lesson I had to learn the hard way because I'm hard-headed.
Yeah. We ultimately have to do everything for ourselves. We have to pat ourselves on the back and just be happy with what our purpose is and walk in that. No one's supposed to walk in these shoes but us.
That's facts.
Stay tuned, everybody. This is Bong Talk. I'm Nappy 2000. We'll be right back.
Crafted from the fires of dragons, chilled on the highest peaks of Everest, the Canagard is designed for perfection, using only the freshest herbs our planet has to offer, cultivated by years of experience. El Toro Verde, crisp, rich draw, slow resin burn. Be bold, be elegant, be the bull. El Toro Verde, you should be smoking.
Right now, music is at a point to where they're just giving the consumer what the consumer wants. It's not even about what the art sounds like, what's good for the music. It's like, what do the consumers want? What are they listening to?
That's a terrible model. Because you know what it is? You know who the consumers end up becoming? I love my fans. I love my audience. I love my supporters because I don't see you as folks that are trying to change who I am in the process. I think a lot of artists do feel that way. What I will say is that letting them dictate things, you end up creating curators out of people that have no business making decisions about music. You end up having people who tell you, I think songs are too short. Based upon what? How I felt today.
Attention span?
Hey, how I felt today. That's enough for you to, okay. So now songs are shorter, so now you're telling folks, I don't think bridges are necessary anymore. Tell Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson that. But there's a reason we still play their music.
Exactly.
When you let the consumer who doesn't know any better, and some consumers do, they just know really good music, or else folks like this we wouldn't have any support. But if you let the wrong consumers who only have like very shallow intent dictate things, we're going to be really pissed off when we look 20 years from now. It's funny. I remember there's a scene in Demolition Man where he was talking about where old boy came out of the cryogenic phase, and he was sitting in the car trying to get used to this future, and they were literally playing commercial jingles on the radio. The songs were 30 seconds. This movie was made in 1996. And
that's what we're on right now.
TikTok.
Yep.
The TikTokification of music. Sometimes, I mean, shorter than that, right?
Yeah.
So if we're in that place, I think it's important that we recognize, like, sometimes we're even allowing kids who don't even know who the hell they are. Their brain won't fully develop until they're 25, dictate the future of music. When did we stop leading as creatives in a field that we're qualified to lead in? Not that you shouldn't satisfy your audience, but you got to understand that a good section of your audience, they may be like doped up right now. And I don't mean doped up in a sense of like drugs. I mean doped up on like dopamine. Like needing overstimulation
every
like,
fucking day.
Do I want the person that's overstimulated and gets bored in less than 3 seconds? Because now the hook in a video needs to be a powerful 3 seconds. That's what we going for? Okay, cool. 3 seconds. Do I want that person telling me how to format my music?
Absolutely not.
Or will I ride this wave and recognize there's a ceiling that I don't even know what it is and be okay with that? And recognize that if I create the art that Curtis King is supposed to create, those who need to gravitate it, those who go to music like it's medicine, will understand the language that I'm speaking. You're activated. Everybody else is going to think I'm just some spiritual mumbo jumbo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, they already got their mind made up to block me out. That's cool. I don't need y'all at the shows. The man may sound arrogant, but it's like, I don't need you at the shows. I don't need you crowding up space for somebody who's there like, work has been kicking my ass this week. But I know when I come to you, I'm going to feel that boost of energy, that motivation. I need more of those people, right? So, or else I can't break away from my family to do this for a living. Yeah. If I'm not serving people and feeling like I've given more, right?
It has to be purpose-based.
Has to be purpose-based. And if it's purpose-based, I can never feel like I'm going too fast or never going too slow. I'm always right on time. For sure.
So, what time are we on right now when it comes to your journey? Do you think you're at where you want to be, or how much farther can we push this?
I feel like it's Leroy with the glow right now.
Okay.
Like recognizing like, wait a minute, this hand light up. Recognizing that, oh my gosh, every journey. Like if somebody would have really told me how long this journey is, when I first started, I probably would have quit the first week because I didn't understand that that's literally every journey. And there's been so many times where I'm like, we're right here, we're getting ready to crack off, and then right back down again.
Right down.
And it's like you have to get used to that at some point. That's what it is. To the point where I'm like, I remember asking like, God, is this it right here? Oh no, this is no. And I talked myself out of it. But now I feel like I really feel like Leroy with the glow, where it's like everything that I've been thinking, I'm able to articulate. So I'm having clarity there. The reach that I felt like the kind of content I do maybe should have had, it's having now. Yeah. I'm jumping in these live streams. It's 400, 500 something people. And I'm like, I used to live stream every single day and couldn't get this, right? Yeah. But I had a conversation with myself before a lot of these videos started going viral, right? And that I said, what's going to change when everything changes? Like, what's going to really change when everything changes? Are you going to change your work ethic? No. Are you going to post less? No. Show up, cut wood, and get back to work. And try your best not to be jaded by the things that are happening on the outside. And I feel like that's been the key. That's really been the key to all of this. Is so in this phase right now, it really is understanding like you're old enough to know better. You have the resources to do better. If you can get past yourself and ask people for help when necessary, you are going to experience levels of success that you could only imagine when you were younger. Yeah. For sure.
Most definitely. And it's been a long, long journey.
Some days it feel like that.
But you're here, though.
Yeah, some days it feel like that, for sure. I get that little back pain. I'm like, oh, go lay down somewhere.
Hey, man, you here. You know what I mean?
But other days, for instance, when you tried to open up that memory of when we first met, I'm like, what house is
I was trying to open up my memory with that, bro. I wasn't doing music at the time.
You brought up a memory. I'm like, whose house where?
I just got out of high school, bro, just wandering around with somebody that was doing music at the time.
Yeah, I think what I've been doing is reminding myself, kind of like going the other direction, the opposite direction, and be grateful, is that I get to do this, right? There's been so many times where I could have just stopped, so many opportunities where the content is taken off and I don't have to even care about music, but I have to care about music because I genuinely love this. I loved it before anything else.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. So even in the reaction videos, there's a rhythm in that. There's music in that. And so now that I'm bringing it all full circle, like I said, it's that Leroy glow where I like, okay, something special is going to happen because you're humbled enough. You've been humbled. For sure been humbled. I'd have my ass kicked. But also I have the resources to sustain this and the confidence to stand behind it, and that whatever comes. I'm not really concerned about it. Don't really sway me now. So
yeah.
I
mean, everything else has happened at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, more could, but it's not gonna stop no train. It's not gonna stop no energy. It's not gonna stop anything Curtis King got going on.
I want high quality problems.
Yeah.
I don't want no problems. If you want no problems, you can go book a room in a cemetery.
That's not real life.
There ain't no problems there.
Nope.
You're done.
Nope.
Give me problems. Just give me higher quality problems. You feel me? I don't want them problems where I can't afford toilet paper. I don't want them problems, right? I want like, man, it was cutting my grass and they broke the sprinkler. That's a good quality problem. That ain't bad.
First world problems.
Right?
Problems.
Because I've had some of those days. Back in those days when I was living with the homie Jinx and staying off of Del Rosa and just really trying to figure this out as independent artists. But now I get, you know how lucky I am. Like what am I complaining about?
Yeah.
Oh my God, nobody's streaming my song. What? What? Oh my God, somebody's trolling me. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Get out here and get outside, and you're gonna realize how this is. It's just I feel incredibly grateful about it, and that's why that whole idea of winning in silence is so important to me, because if I don't tell nobody, I don't have to give them an update if it goes wrong or if it goes right. I just gotta show up and keep doing it anyways. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and you got people like the Far Side coming up to you.
Like I watched him on I watched him on a DVD, and I rewinded his part when he was talking about the music industry. Funny, just to show you how life full circles its way. I was just watching him on a Rhyme and Reason DVD, and I'm like, man, like.
And now he saw you on YouTube talk about the industry.
I'm in line as a fan. I'm not Curtis King at that point in time. I'm the little kid that loved Passing Me By. Like one of my first remixes was Passing Me By, and so I walk up to him just on some like, I really appreciate your art and what you do. And he's like, I've seen you on YouTube before.
Yep.
So
that is what it is.
But I think also, too, there's a level of maturity that has to come with being able to hear that and still know you ain't shit.
There's still a lot more to do.
I'm not. There ain't nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's like it is something. I'm grateful for it, but that life goes on. You know what I'm saying? He goes back to his life. I go to, nothing changes.
It was just a quick.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, good compliment.
Great compliment, but those compliments, if I overvalue those compliments, then that also exposes me to overvalue the critiques. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all fleeting.
It's all fleeting because I recognized there was a day back in the MySpace days when nobody cared. I drop a bulletin post about a new song to nobody, crickets. And it was like, I had one fan. Shout out to Michelle Lynn. I'll never forget her. Michelle Lynn on MySpace. She still following me on Twitter today.
Shouts out to Michelle.
Michelle Lynn, like at first, I'm not gonna lie. I told her too. I was like, Michelle, I thought you was a catfish, because I was like, you got some good angles. I was like, nah. And then she bought my merchandise and she put it in a photo, and I was like, oh no, you for real?
Yeah, she's a real person.
She's a real person.
Yeah, she's a real person.
And what I've noticed about people who are that supportive, they never ask you to change. Once you go back to the old you, no, what you working on? I have the old stuff to reference, but Michelle Lynn is one of those where I'm just like, I always got respect for her and appreciation, because I remember when it was nobody but her. Even folks in my household were like, turn that shit down.
Yo, you can never forget those people.
No. First name, last name.
Forget those people. Everyone says no one supports me. There's one person out there that does. There's someone out there.
Yeah,
there's people.
And don't forget you.
Yeah.
How you got no fans? I got nobody supports me.
Stop it.
There's a voice inside your head that's like, Cap. I'm right here with you, writing, headaches and all. I'm hungry, broke, and I'm here watching you write. I'm your biggest supporter. But that, I think, once again, is the unlearning that has to happen. And I am more than willing to be a part of that unlearning.
Yeah.
I get excited about that.
Yeah.
Because it's not about telling people to not go to the traditional music industry. It's about letting them know, like, here's what the people that are currently in it are saying about this environment. You don't think there might be something to pay attention to if they're all saying the same thing?
And you can see their energy, their attitudes about it. It's not healthy.
Without even going conspiracy level deep.
Just,
like, you could just look and say, look at somebody when they first enter versus, after they've reached their height, right? And maybe that can be said about most professions, right? You look at when Obama got elected versus when he came out with gray hairs.
Yup.
Just the stress of the job,
Happened to
right?
Bill Clinton too.
Yeah, Bill Clinton too. But that's my point, is that if you're going to go through that anyways, and you have a choice of whether or not to go through that, you better make sure the environment you go into, you're fully prepared for. And that's what I feel like is now my duty. I feel like that's what God's putting on me right now, is you're not exposing nothing. There's enough folks out there doing the whole, conspiracy. That's not what I'm here to do. Because I get fed that stuff all the time. The industry is so evil. I'm like, well, then stop.
Yeah,
stop listening.
Yeah. Don't be a part of it.
Don't be a part
of it.
Remove right?
yourself.
But I do feel a responsibility now. It's just to share, and give an objective point of view. And even when for instance, I had an A&R that said that you should stop rapping at 30 years old, and he was on a podcast, and I reacted to the video. He didn't expect that video to go 40,000 views.
Right.
He didn't expect that, like less than a week. And he reached out to me, and he was like, I appreciate the fact that you weren't like disrespectful and that you were just giving. I'm like, y'all not used to an articulate rapper. You're not used to those two things being put together. And if they are, you're used to them being too broke to say anything about it. So I feel like we represent the generation of D.I.Y'ers that are like, no, we know better. We can articulate that, and we have the reach. So now that we have the opportunity to have these conversations, either we can get that respect or just know the line in the sand has been drawn. But he came on my platform after I made the reaction video to clear up what he said. And I'm like, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
A&R, who works for United Masters, is coming to my platform to give more clarity. Who the hell am I?
He probably had to change. He had second thoughts about it. He was like, 35.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, I wasn't trying to cook the man. I wasn't trying to cook him, but I just say it smelled like barbecue that day. It smelled like 4th of July.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue just in the name of just competition, because he was saying this thing about being 30, and like he's kind of like laughing in the interview about it, like, these 30-year-old rappers think they're gonna be successful, and it's like, no, they don't think. There's folks who are currently doing that.
Yeah.
Who you can't put these rules about. If you didn't get any action in your 20s, then it's time to give it up.
Conway the Machine is 43.
How about this? How about we even take it off of rappers for a second? Nobody ever says that about an author. And they're literally writing. We're songwriters. We're rappers, but we're songwriters. Why don't we hold them to those standards?
Right.
No disrespect, but Stephen King, old ass, is still cranking out books.
Most definitely is.
Much, like, respectfully. He's still cranking out books. And he's not just cranking out books. He's cranking out books for teenagers who love horror. So why do they tell 30-year-old rapper, it's time to hang it up? Even if you're trying to rap to younger people. And I'm like, well, when Stephen King do it, it's okay when he do it.
They don't say that about rock and roll.
So exactly. And so what I did was this. I looked on Google and I said, who are the top authors of this year and what are their ages? And it was like 38, ironically, because I'm 38, 56, 64. And I'm like, man, it's so crazy how many restrictions we put upon. Then I stopped and I said, damn it, that's the unlearning. We have to be part of that unlearning. And then the way we unlearn is to call it for the bullshit it is, and then look at our neighbor and say, neighbor, niggas gonna do in church, neighbor, you agree with this? Right? So I feel like that's all that I am now. I'm doing this content. I'm not exposing nobody. I'm just like a voice of reason that knows better. That's like, that makes sense to y'all? Y'all okay with this? Okay, bad. I'm good in my independence, but you good with this? So, yeah, I enjoy it.
I'm really happy that you're in this place right now. I
Yeah.
really am. Because I know you've worked hard to be in this
Very,
place
very.
and to be this teacher and to freely give out this information.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also going to have paid classes for these types of information.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
on my website, curtisking.com, at the moment, I just really have primarily classes for producers. So if you're an artist that wants to learn how to produce your own music, I have FL Studio courses from the beginning to advanced. I have sampling courses, pretty much all the things that I have learned how to do, sound design, even how to tap into your flow state as a producer. There's a lot of things that I've learned in researching flow state.
Talk about that a little bit.
So with flow state, we've all experienced it in any walk of life. It could be the time where, you start like cleaning up, and then you find that you get it. The music is playing, and you get in such a zone that you lose track of time, but your arms are just moving. They're just moving. Like your brain is able to like organize tasks that aren't even in the room. That's when you're in the flow state, right? You lose track of time, all these different like parameters by what it is. So I started just simply making videos about the things that I was reading about. A month later, I'm having an interview with the world-renowned flow state expert in Stephen Kotler, best-selling author, comes on my platform because I just reached out to him because I'm that crazy. I'm just like, yeah, he'll come talk to a rapper. Let's see. And he's like, yeah, I've been looking to talk to musicians. Comes on the platform, I talk to him. It goes so well that his people hit me to come back again. So it's like these kind of things are happening right now. Just because of things that we're interested in and willing to share. So when it comes to the flow state, producers go through it when they start putting together kicks and snares, and there's a process of how to get there. It's when, so we all have a skill set, right? And whatever that skill set is whatever it is today. Based upon the difficulty of that skill set, this is what helps us determine whether or not we'll get into that flow state. So if a task is way above our skill set, it's overwhelming and we can't get in the flow. We get frustrated. We call it beat block or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's too underwhelming, then we get bored because it's a remedial task. We can get past it. But if you can get to, I think it's a 5% above your skill set, it's enough to keep you engaged. It's accessible enough to keep you interested. And because of that, we get into a flow where I literally have a live stream called Flowcation, where I'll start at 4 p.m. and look up and it's 9 p.m. and I've been live streaming for 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
And my folks stay there. They stay there. They're used to it. They'll check in, come back. I'll make a song, make a beat in this time, but I live for it, man. I love it. It's the happiest I am is when I'm in that flow because it feels like Mario with the star.
Yeah.
Can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
So,
you're unstoppable.
Yeah. Only issue is that if you don't understand the side effects of it, it definitely could kick your ass the next day.
Yeah,
you got to have a cool down period with it.
You do.
It's like how people would describe going to the gym. It feels good, but if you overwork your body and don't rest, it's the same.
When I DJ, I most definitely get in the flow.
So you know.
It can get a little draining because you're sucking in energy from other things as well.
Definitely.
And when you're sweating, you're releasing it out as well. So it can get a little.
It's a part of your brain called. Am I gonna remember this? I'm not gonna remember this. So it's a part of your brain that is in charge of basically helping you make like critical thinking and making decisions. It's that voice you hear that's like, don't play that song. I remember when we happened last time you played that song and they were like, it's that voice. But what happens is that when the flow state is triggered, that voice takes a back seat.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of us who are overthinkers feel so happy in flow because it's like, I can't do anything wrong in this.
Yeah.
Right? So people are like, you move so fast when you're making a beat. I'm like, I'm not moving to do a speed Olympics. I'm just in flow and it feels good because I'm like, okay, now we got some motion. So, yeah. But it generally takes people mostly, I think, about 15 minutes to prime it. And You have sessions of it. Video gamers experience it too.
Oh yeah, they most definitely do. When they're playing Call of Duty, they in flow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They in flow. Fortnite, they in flow.
They do things I cannot do because I'm like PlayStation, Xbox generation. That's beyond me.
I was playing Guitar Hero and all that. I was in flow on Guitar Hero.
I was failing at Guitar Hero.
You know what I
was terrible. I was like, do I even make music? I was so bad at it. Oh my gosh. Parappa the Rapper is probably the only thing I could really get off on.
It's all
I was
good.
like,
you know what you're good at.
Yeah, I know my limitations.
Yeah, you know your limitations.
I still play 2K on easy. I like that.
It's all good. You want to win.
I just want some momentum. You know what I'm saying? Work been kicking my ass all day. Let me just make a few threes from half court.
Yeah, exactly. Wet ball. That's how you do it.
That's it. That's all I need.
Yo, I really appreciate you for even coming up to me and wanting to come on the show.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I have to say thank you to that again. Yeah. You know,
I appreciate you having me.
May not be everyone's flow.
No, I appreciate you having me even though I don't smoke, because you could have been like, you ain't going to smoke though, Curtis. I'm like, you right.
Oh, yeah.
You right.
Yeah. I can't do that to you. No, yeah. I know what you're on. No.
No, it's not even that. Like, I didn't, if you talk to Noah and them, I have had some hypochondriac experiences. Oh my God, the day that I learned the difference between indica and sativa. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, there's most definitely a difference. Be careful.
No, you don't have to worry about me being careful.
Be careful.
I'm off. I'm good.
For the audience, be careful. You know what I mean? Take your time. There's a difference. Sativa or just don't smoke.
Yeah,
But,
just
you know
know your
saying? Just
limitations
don't smoke.
or your, I'm already someone who's always thinking and my brain is always moving, and I like to be in control of these things, right? So when I lose that control, it's hard for me to be like everybody else's and just like go with the flow of it. And it's like, no. My heart is talking to me right now. Can't do it.
Yeah. As long as you know what you can and cannot do, that's a superpower. Yeah, there's nothing to prove.
We all got vices, though. I love to eat. I for sure love to eat.
I love to eat.
I love to eat.
If I didn't work out, I would probably be easily 300 pounds.
Yeah, I work out and I still eat.
Hey, man, keep going.
Keep
going.
Hit
the treadmill.
Keep eating. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Treadmill, all that.
All I heard was keep eating. That's all I heard. I appreciate that. You know, I'm going to do that after this.
Please do. I'm about to eat. I'm always eating.
Yeah. No, but it's you gotta know. You gotta know what's you at your best. And funny that you even said that. Like, I was having a thought today on the way. I was like, man, I think I operate better off less food. For like when I'm sluggish, when my energy's low, that's when I'm the worst at my job.
We have to give our gut at least 12 hours of recycling every single day. That's why they recommend intermittent fasting to eat at 12 p.m.
Do you do that?
Mm-hmm. I probably eat like once a day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I'll probably snack throughout, but honestly, once a day.
My issue is not necessarily like eating bad. It's just that when my body's like overeating, it don't know when to stop.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be high sometimes, and I'll just be like,
I'll be sober and still want to be hungry.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want some toast. You know what I'm saying?
Toast is crazy. That's so hella random, but I get it.
Bro,
I get it.
that toast be hitting.
I know it do. That's hilarious.
It really do.
No butter, just straight toast.
Well, I've recently been put on to like vegan butter.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There's no difference I've come to realize.
Butter. Okay.
But it's you know, butter is butter. You know what I mean?
They're getting better about it. I just think a lot of, because you know, I've been vegetarian, more pescatarian for like almost 10 years, and I broke that at the beginning of this year, and I tore some Wingstop up. Oh my God, I missed it so bad. And every year that I didn't have any meat, I was missing bacon. Oh my God, bacon smells so good. Just like smelling it, like the oh my God. And I didn't have it. I had the wings, and I just.
Did it tear you up?
The first time, no.
No? Okay.
I think my anxiety about it tore me up more, because I was like, oh, it's about to happen, and nothing happened. The problem I had with it, though, is that I had brain fog that I hadn't had since 2013. And immediately when it happened, I was like, damn, we haven't been here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All that chicken meat.
Man, bro.
All that, if that even is chicken.
It was chicken. Yeah, it was a bunch of different stuff. Because after you start one.
Yeah, you keep going.
I just kept going. So I was like, you know what? I know my personality, and I'd rather put that addictive part of my personality into my my art.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Into providing for the family.
Recycle that energy somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to go somewhere.
It most definitely
right?
does.
So that's all it is.
Yeah, that's most definitely another part of flow state. Redistributing energy.
You gotta recharge it, and that's something that there's so much terminology. I feel like once again part of the unlearning, and maybe the unlearning is not necessarily just industry, but just hip hop. Like we were told certain rules in hip hop by kids, right? By early, think about that, 20-year-olds who established this is the rules to live life by. And so many of us have kind of followed that. When you think about things like the idea of grinding, and when you look up you look up grinding, right? We hear so much in music about grinding. I've talked about it. When you look up the word grinding, what happens when you grind it's funny, ironically, you grind. What happens when you grind your brakes?
That shit gets fucking rusty.
What happens when you grind your teeth at night going to sleep?
Those shits get rusty and they fall apart. When you grind up the weed, it breaks down into small pieces.
Does that not explain burnout? Does it not explain how many folks I got, like, folks be like, I see like 20-year-old artists that I'm like, it looks like you've done 40 years in the industry because of how stressed out they, that they are. So, but grinding, hustling, hustle. This is not a hustle when you love this. So, yeah. You good. I gave you radio silence. I'm supposed to keep it going. You good.
I appreciate you. That's how you know I know you interview. You gave me my time.
It's all good.
But yo, man, I really appreciate this talk. I really appreciate
Likewise.
you coming on here. And what can we expect for the rest of 2023, going into 2024, 2025, where you're looking that far?
So I'm definitely continuing to create content on my channel. We do weekly content. So I have a video that goes out every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Reaction video content on Curtis King TV. DIY Music Network is the 24-hour radio station for independent artists, music producers, composers, just independent musicians in general. That is going to be open for submissions. Anytime that you go over there, you'll see it. An easy way to get into that is to get a beat critique or review on Mondays for Critique My Beats. Is another series that I do. So I do primarily live streaming. But as I start to build out a team, it's been me for the majority of the time. I'm starting to build out an actual team. I look forward to just scaling what we're doing and doing it so quietly and smoothly. Like before you know it, it's like, something looks different.
Yep.
Or he's showing up a little bit more often. The primary focus for me is building up this performance room in the house, the D.I.Y'er stage in the house. And once that's built up, doing shows from home and charging folks to get in the shows from home. Or not in the house, but from online.
Yeah, LaRussell was doing shows in his backyard, right?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. We renting, so
that's
first of all. But second of all, I don't know if I want all them folks in my house. I'll be honest with you.
That's the other thing.
I don't know if I can have it like that.
I don't know you niggas.
You feel me? Like I think if you're gonna do that, you have to have a location that your family's lived at for a long time. I know who lives in that house, this house, this house.
Right.
I think just the landscape down here in LA is a little bit different too. Like especially like, you know what I'm saying? Like if down in this area is a little bit different. If somebody know you making a whole lot of money and they know exactly the house that you doing it at, it's different when you don't have like.
Yeah, it's a little suspect.
So look, you got to know your lay of the land. You got to have some OGs that are able to like, shield this, let him do his thing. So I want to create that stage, and in the process, just continue to do whatever I can to build value in exchange for, the currency people want to pay. I'm gonna next month. I'm releasing an album that is an instrumental album that I'm doing with a buddy of mine named Aaron Barber. He's an amazing composer that I met online, and I sampled his stuff, made beats with it, so it's like a beat tape / new songs, but it's also going to be a sound pack that producers can take every aspect of it, from the acapella, from the sounds of everything on it, except
So
for
the
drums.
snares, the kick.
Not those.
No,
because
that. Okay,
some of those
okay,
are
okay.
like I borrowed those drums from the homie Stolen Drums.
Okay.
But anything melodic on that, which I sampled, that's gonna be free for them to manipulate and have their own. So, and I actually got that idea from Stolen Drums. But that's next month, and then from here on out, like next year's my 39th year, and I look forward to being an even shinier example of the things that I've been talking about. What I've learned with mentoring a lot of younger artists and producers, they only listen to you if you're still playing the game. Most of them, they only listen to you. They really take heed if you're still playing the game. There's a reason why people go to Phil Handy for their basketball footwork, because Phil Handy still gets out there on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he's able to show them instead of tell them. And so
He's still in the field.
I have to be out here in the field.
Yep.
And I get to be out here in the field. And I got to say, shout out to the homie Stevie Crooks, because we've been in a lot of contact lately about this movement I think both of us are on, in that what would happen if we had the opportunity, once again, to have a Basquiat living today? Would you stun his growth? Would you be on his Instagram? Would he even have an Instagram, first of all? But would you be on his Instagram telling him all the things he needs to change? If that's the genius that we say that he is today, you wouldn't even think to do that. Some people would. Mm-hmm. But my thing is this. I'm all about pro-independence, and I am not for stunning the growth, the creative growth of creatives. And I'll defend that to the end, because I feel like there are very uncreative, mediocre people that are trying to make the most creative people out here be just like them.
Yep.
I'm not fucking with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Exactly. And that's why you are the teacher in that position and the pillar that you are right now.
Yeah, but I got to be a doer too. So
You
the
are.
teacher's important, but if I'm not doing it, then I just like, remember back in my day when I was, no, I can't do that. I got to be like, remember last week?
Exactly. What have you done for me lately? We're in that, we're most definitely in that society right now.
And the game changes so quickly. It's like, you don't want to talk to something that you don't know anything about. And if things are like, I've been getting out back performing live again, and I'm like, I get it. I get why some people may or may not come to a show.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. So I'll share with Noah at least like my point of view on it.
There's 15 openers.
You know what I'm saying? Not them in particular, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying like that's
mine.
That's yours. Yeah,
that's mine.
When I be the headliner, I got to sit through all of them.
Yeah,
don't
I'm
nobody
not,
got to. If of all the folks who complain about shows, don't nobody got to sit at that show longer than the headliner who's being told by the promoter, "Hey, we need you here at this particular time in the green room," and you just in the green room like.
You got me fucked up. That's crazy.
Imagine, and I give this to anybody who's listening. Imagine your job called you in and said, "All right, I need you to come in from 9 to 5, but I need you to hang out in this green room from about 9 till about 3. About 3.
Just sit in here.
Just chill. We got snacks for you.
9 to 3.
Matter of fact, give me your writer.
Yep.
I'll give you whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make money in here. The reason why I'm valuable to you is because of my ability to create something that has reach. I cannot create that in here. So I challenge every artist to really gauge whether or not the things they're saying yes to are actually moving the needle, or if you're just saying yes to them because you just don't want to, you got FOMO. Because when you really look at the numbers of how much money is going out per show, you might rethink this.
Yep.
From the gas to paying your homies way in, to the drink at the end of the night, or the fast food on the way home.
Just the energy.
And you're not getting paid.
Bro.
You feel me? Like,
bro, a lot.
I used to do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, a lot of money has been distributed out.
And then when I spoke up and said something, they was like, "Man, shut up." Over here doing math. Nobody trying to hear that, bro. You want your dreams or not? And I think that's the unlearning that I think we're in charge of, is that we just got to unlearn, bro, and just do it on purpose. Do it purposely.
Yes, sir. Curtis,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you
for
man.
coming on this podcast. I told you there was stuff to talk about.
Yeah. You got a lot to talk. Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that we're able to touch on many different topics on it. But I appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You guys are now tuned into Bong Talk. I'm Nappy 2000. I'll see y'all again. Thank you guys for tuning in to Bong Talk. You can either watch or stream this on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And also, thank you to all the sponsors of the show.